Well, hello and welcome to another episode of Woodward's Watercolours, and today we are in Seapark in Holywood, which is an absolutely beautiful spot. Now it's getting cold this time of year and it's quite busy, and I really want to send the drone up and get a bit of an aerial view of this place, but it is also in an area that might be restricted, but we'll see. If we don't, we'll just go straight and make a cup of tea and have our lunch. But let's send the drone up and have a look at the beautiful Seapark in Holywood in County Down in Northern Ireland. Well, it turns out that actually you can't fly in this area, and it is on a flight path into international airport, or the city airport, so I think that's fairly reasonable. So what I've done is hopefully given you a bit of a flavour of the place, and I'm going to take some pictures. We're going to print it off with a little Kodak Mini 3 printer, I think it is. Sometimes you guys ask what that is, and I'm using. I have loved that printer. So we're going to take a picture, we're going to print it off, we're going to paint it in the van. As you can see, the Isle of Man Manx special wool hat that I bought that time a few years ago is back out because it's cold. But it's lovely, you know, it's lovely making these videos, lovely being in these places. Nice to have Bertie to make a nice warm cup of tea and enjoy my sandwiches in. So I'm going to go and get something interesting that I would like to paint today, whether it's the green to my right or to the sea to my left. We'll find something. So I'll see you back in the van in a minute, and hopefully some of the B-reel has given you a bit of a flavour of what this place is like. Well, isn't it a lovely place? It's really, really nice spot, and just something so beautiful about being beside the water. Really, really restorative, isn't it? So I've opened the back here because, as always, you got to remember to turn the gas on so that there's going to be some gas to be able to heat up my water. Now the water has been in the van for a few days, so good thing about it is if we can get it to boiling point, we're all good, and we're going to get to enjoy a nice cup of tea. So I'm going to get the kettle on, enjoy my tea, have some lunch, but of course I have to show you what it is I'm going to have with as tea, and how I'm going to make it, and what I'm eating for my lunch. I know, it's interesting, isn't it? Anyway, now's the perfect time for you guys to pause the video. Well, maybe actually wait and pause it till I show you what I've got for my lunch. Alright, be back in a tick. Oh, the clouds are starting to gather, and what I've realised is, notice I've got my jacket on to keep me warm. I've got my little hook that I can hang up my keys in when I'm on the inside as well, which is good. So need the lights on, pump on, we're all good to go. I've got my little remote control unit for my drone charging because can't use it today. It's always a bit sad when you can't get the drone up, but more important that people are kept safe, am I right? Okay, so what I've realised is keep the roof down whenever it's winter time because it's cold, and the hot air is going to stay in here keep us much more cozy, which is what you want, which is why we have Bertie the camper van. Today's sandwiches are from Delish, and they are at the knockdown price of £2 for Coronation chicken, which I love. And also I buy the multi-pack of the onion rings because I think it's not only me enjoys them in my house. £1.45 for 6 packs, I think it is, or maybe 5 packs. Used to be 6 for 5 packs, so a really, really reasonable lunch. What I'm going to have for tea today, this is from, actually got this from the cruise ship, which is decaffeinated Earl Grey Tea, which I really enjoy. So I'm going to get the kettle on, I'm going to enjoy my lunch. Now's the time that you, look at the state of my hair after having that bobble hat on. Now's the time that you pause the video, go make yourself a lunch, dinner, breakfast, porridge, cup of coffee, cup of tea, something else to drink, a snack, or just don't pause the video at all and just seamlessly watch into the next section. And I think that I have selected the image that I am going to print. Now, I probably should show you again the little camera that I use, which is this little Kodak. It's the C300R, I believe it says there. And it is just phenomenal. One of the great advantages is I don't have to drag and drop the image onto the screen so you can see. I print it off, but then also I now have lots of little photographs that are memories of videos that I've done in places that I've been, which is just wonderful. Okay, I think I've waffled to you enough. I'm going to get myself organized and I'll see you back in a minute. You can just hear the kettle dying down. So this is what we're going to paint today. In some ways it's quite a normal scene. I really enjoy these kind of shapes around here, these kind of perspective shapes, and then a little bit of the mountain or the landscape and these dramatic clouds. So it's going to be an exciting one to paint actually, which will be good. Right, I'm going to pour my tea, I'm going to eat my onion rings, have my, I was going to call them crisps, just shows you I'm tired. I'm going to have my sandwiches and I'm going to sit and I'm going to look out at this beautiful scene. And now because the kettle's been on, the van is just at a lovely warm temperature. Boy, am I grateful for this van. So I'm still enjoying my tea. The sandwiches were perfect and the crisps were a beautiful addition. For those of you in the world who do not have Tayto crisps, I am sorry for you. They are beautiful. They make your breath stink, but they're beautiful. And I'm on my own, so nobody cares. Lovely cup of tea. Anyway, I wanted to show you, I went for a bit of a haul. I needed to get some things from Art and Home in Holywood. Now, Art and Home really is a independent specialist art shop. And I was reflecting on, you know, while I was there was one of the things, I have very little, and I've never actually don't have any until today. I bought the Langton hot pressed paper because I've used it once and it's so totally different, and I thought that would be really interesting with the granulating. Now they have a sale on, so that was £13 and now £9.75. The cheapest I could find it while I was there was £11 on Amazon. The next thing that I bought was some Daniel Smith watercolour ground, which they recommended to me. It was $10.99. They recommended it to me for preparing anything, any surface or canvas to be able to use for watercolour. I also I had a rather lovely Etsy sale, so I needed to get some satin varnish to be able to varnish that. That was reduced from $13.35 to $10.80. And just thinking what else there is in here. I bought a 15mm hematite burnt scarlet genuine, one of the more crazy granulating watercolors from Daniel Smith. That was $16.50 I think. Now obviously I think a 5mm was about £11 or £12, so $16.50 for 3 times that is not bad at all. The other thing that I also bought was they had some brushes for sale, and also spotted one of these, which is a carpenter pencil. This is by Coronttion. It was 60p, and you've got that lovely flat nib, which is flat lead. This was just an impulse buy for, I think it was £3.50, a big mop brush. And then also I wanted to buy, is it called a rigger or a liner brush, and it was about £4.50. Now, could I have got some of that cheaper? Yeah, I probably could. Some of it I definitely couldn't. But what I wanted to say was, it's about the conversations that you have when you go into that independent art shop. The lady there, I took the mic means to make fun of, have a bit of banter in a lovely light-hearted way about how much she loves swatching. And she remembers that about me every time that I come in. I probably made that joke about a year and a half, 2 years ago. And now I am all in for swatching because I see the purpose of it and understand it. But it's those relationships, it's the fact that they actually are recommending things that are helpful to you. Of course they want to make a sale, but I don't feel that off them. I feel more that she's passionate about art, or the other guy helping is passionate about art and wants to help. So I got all of that. I think it was about £45. She gave me discount because I teach art, and also I think gave me further discount. And I thought, I said to her, you don't need to give me discount. So what I want to say is a big shout out to your local art store that is an independent store run by someone than by some multi-conglomerate massive thing. Now, I do use the big multis, I do use Amazon, I do use Hobbycraft, but there's just something, that little something extra about when you go into a shop that's owned by a person who's passionate about what you do, shares your passion and gives you recommendation and insight and wisdom and knowledge that you would never get anywhere else. So just a shout out to Art and Home in Holywood, Northern Ireland. You can order from them, I think, anywhere in the world. If you do order from them anywhere in the world, you'll get great service and just want to heartily recommend them. Okie doke, let's get on with painting. Okay, so we're all set up. I've got the Seawhite of Brighton A5 paper, which actually has a really nice kind of a pattern on it. Now we're getting, where are these shadows coming from now? Shadows everywhere, shadows everywhere. Because there's sunlight and I've got my little light on here as well so we can see. Okay, so what we're going to draw with is, it's also what I have available in the van because I wasn't sure what I was going to do today. So if I pull this down, maybe, yes, there we go. That's going to be much better for us. At least we can control the light that's actually happening. So this is the Faber-Castell 4 Pitt Pens. I think I bought these about 5 years ago. And they are just really, really nice to draw with. I wonder, is that the finest one? I can never figure out which is actually the finest. There it is. So we want that one will do a good job. So we want the thinnest and we want the thickest. So the thinnest here is a 0.3. I didn't even notice that they have those markings there. So I'm going to actually move this over to this side because I would tend to work from a reference when it's referred to on that side. Now, as always, you know me, I really want to keep this really quite nice and loose. So let's get some of these marks here. Just keeping it nice and light. Follow those undulating hills. Now, I have exaggerated, obviously, those undulating hills as well. And then we've got this mark here, it's coming down. So with all perspective, it is actually seeing the thing the way it actually is and not the way that you imagine that it actually is. That is the key with all perspective. Now, and then this is going around in this kind of way here. And there is a bird, but you know me, I'm not going to put that bird in. And then we do a little signature. And that'll hopefully get lost in the actual making of it. I'm going to notice just a couple of places where it's that little bit darker. Okay, and keep thinking about that blooming bird. When we were on the last course in Belfast there, they kept making fun of me about the birds. They were like the bane of my life when it came to paintings and do you keep them in. And there's a little bit of correction here just with the line work, as you can see. Just doing that and that. Now, isn't that super duper simple? And one of the things that I absolutely love about line work is that it doesn't have to be really complicated. Now, while you're all here, I don't tend to do this while you're all on because I think it's somewhat boring. But I have always loved simplifying images, and you can tell that this stumper's nearly, look at the state of that one. It's gone all wonky on me. Don't know what's happened there. These are my spare set, so if my spare set go, I'll be stuffed. I wonder, are they all a little bit wonky? Anyway, I think I also need a new stamper pad. The last time I tried to spell this was on a Instagram live, and I totally misspelt it. So this will be awfully redeeming if I can do this properly. So really today what I'm looking to do is my kind of classic style of the watercolor and ink. And I remember somebody said to me years ago, who's very successful, owning a gallery and all this kind of stuff, and they said to me, Colin, you must keep one style, you know, and that's what people will buy. And I thought, no thanks, don't want to do that. I want to enjoy painting instead of just being completely corporate and commercial about it. So here I am, just enjoying myself in my gorgeous little van, which is so lovely and comfortable, even though it is quite a it's a beautiful day out there, but it is not warm by any stretch. Okay, so me being me, I'm going to put my stuff away. I tend to like to try and take care of things. This is where you'll go. Colin likes things in their place. This is the pack of the Gold Tech Tackle-On Synthetic. They're my favourite brushes of all, really. I know this is a development. I'm starting to appreciate the round brushes as well, so I'm going to set that over there so that's out of the way as well. And my little washi tape, it's going to be out of the way as well. Okay, now I've got my water, so what I am thinking I should probably do is drink up so that I don't end up dipping my brush into the tea, because that, as we know, happens very, very regularly. Sorry for the gulping sounds, it's not the nicest sound listening to someone drink. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're using the Winsor & Newtons, which I haven't even cleaned, which is so unlike me, I have to say. So I'm going to give these a little bit of a clean, because we do not want there to be... Now, where did I put that little tissue? We do not want there to be a whole heap of cross pigmentation. There, I just came up with that there now. What do you think? We don't want there to be a whole heap of cross pigmentation, as they say. Okay, so that's it clean now. And what I want to do is then, so we're going to start with the sky, and sky is my favourite bit now. I wonder, should I open this out a little bit so you can see more of what I'm actually mixing here? Okay, so I'm going to take some of I've recharged my cerulean blue, which is just absolutely perfect for this scene. So the 3 lifts in, and sometimes people spritz their watercolors, and I actually do understand more now than ever why people do that. But sorry, that's got all contaminated. Not sure what's going on there. So let's just start again. We don't want little bits of brown drifting in, so let's do that. So again, just getting that cerulean blue. And boom, splatting it down. I really, do you know, it just does me the world of good splatting stuff down sometimes. It just feels like it's the very act of doing that is like the entry point into the painting. Because so often we take such a long time to, you know, gear up to do things, when in actual fact what is required is that we just jump in. So I'm going to take a little bit of this and then just sort of hint at some clouds. I'll actually let that bleed ever so slightly, because that's going to work quite nicely for us. And let's touch on another bit of cloud that is just happening over here. It's got really quite a dark cloud there, so let those two become friends in the corner there, and let's just touch that in there. Okay, so that's really the height of the sky that I want to do. Now, the other thing is I could take just a little touch, and I think I might, which is just taking just that little bit to the edge there. Just to the edge of where those mountains are kind of touching there. Okay, you can hear a guy next door's just got a squeaky toy out for his dog. How sweet. Little does he know he's now on a YouTube video. Okay, so now what we want to do then is so we're going to use that blue. I'm going to take a little bit of ultramarine. I'm going to take a little bit of phthalo. I'm also going to darken it down with a little bit of that more lamp kind of ivory black. And we're going to do the modelling technique. Mottling, he says. Now that brush has got too much on it to be able to get a little bit of the detail that we want. So holding the brush on its side and just rocking it ever so slightly. Okay. And then down to this point here, where there's this sort of kind of settling. Okay, and then I'm going to take just a little bit of an umber, and with that umber I'm just going to add a little touch of that lamp or ivory black, and we're then going to begin to move that down to there. Now that's a little bit of dry brushing that I'm really quite pleased with, so we're going to let that remain there. We'll lift another bit of that blue because there's actually some of that moving across and into the different sections. Now the other thing is, on this other side here, it's not, I actually think what it is more of is like a Payne's grey or an indigo, so that's exactly what I'm going to use. A little bit of Payne's grey and an indigo. Just I didn't want it to be that dark actually, but that's okay. We'll just work with that, and then that's touching ever so slightly there, just at that point. Okay, the next thing then is, you can see on the right hand side here, we've got that one extra area. So what we're going to do is take, actually that's probably going to be the most perfect color there, and it's a little bit luminous. I have no idea what the color actually is, but we're going to bring it down with the Payne's grey into something that's going to be a bit more workable. And just the thing about this paper, because it's got those the way that the markings are, it's letting me do that little bit of dry brushing, and it's probably not great for the brush, but great for the image. Just pulling that out there, and then we're just gonna, now what I was going to say, we're just going to let that dry. But the other thing that we really want to do is to get this a little bit more detail in here. So I'm going to let this dry, and then we'll revisit it once it is dry. Okay, so this is now dry, and I am pretty shocked by how long it actually took for it to become dry. So what we're going to take is I think the indigo, actually probably a good kind of a base color for what we're actually trying to achieve across this part here. So I'm just going to use the corner. There's some little bits that are still slightly damp, but I left it for a significant amount of time sitting. Was right my Sunday message for church. Now actually what this needs is probably more of a phthalo input to be able to bring it up to where I think it should be. I think it needs even more than that. It's a strange, yeah, it's darker than that as well. Strange color. Anyway, it's just trying to really find out what is going on and what seeing the colors it actually is rather than what you think it is. Sorry, I keep headbutting the stand where my phone is being kept. Okay, so let's leave that there for now. Now what we're going to do with this water is we're going to take more of the cerulean and probably make it that bit richer, I think, and add in a little bit of the ultramarine and maybe a touch of the phthalo just to make it that bit more mad. Don't want it to go too much. I'm going to darken it down actually with a bit of the indigo as well. Okay, so I've got it quite strong there on the brush, so I don't want to, yeah, that's okay. So just some of these, you know, just changing the angle ever so slightly. It's actually still a little bit light for me, so what I'm going to do is just, it's amazing to me, you know, when you actually look into the colors and things, what is actually in front of you compared to what you think is in front of you is always quite remarkable. Just going to put that there. Okay, the next thing is I'm going to take some of that cerulean again, because it's really lovely and bright across this section here, and then begin to merge that into something a bit darker. Goes across there. Now we're into serious glazing here, which is my territory, which I love. But also sometimes I've been really enjoying actually doing something that is a bit less glazy and much more hazy. That's terrible. It's like a total and utter dad joke right there. But it is. It actually is. That is exactly what it is. Okay, so we're going to take that same color as well again. Begin to move that. I need to mix more of that because that's working well for me. So it's almost got this kind of an outline, and I really don't mind that bleeding on into the water there. That's totally fine with me. And then same again on this side, and we're just going to darken that down, and I think just take another little sweep at it there. Okay, so the other thing is that let's do a little mix of those two colours there, because that's good, that's what we're wanting there. It's always very satisfying when you find the thing that actually you're looking for. Well, there's a profound statement. I'm just going to move that across to that side there, and also bring in just a little bit of across there. Okay, now it feels like we're beginning to get somewhere. Now what I will do is add in something that's a little bit darker again. Taking some of that brown again, just adding in a little bit more into those darker areas there, and hopefully letting that pull ever so slightly. A bit more there. Okay, good. I think we're getting there. Now, the main thing that I want to do is one of the strongest bits of this. Now, I could probably take more of this indigo, and I'll add in actually some of the brown, which is probably going to take us much more to a black, which is okay. But if I just drop in a little touch of that there, just to darken down ever so slightly. Now, it's more like a Payne's grey, but actually what's going to happen, hopefully, is that's going to mix a little bit. And I might take a little bit more of that cerulean straight, just to kind of pick up on, yes, that's what I want. Just to lift those areas that are so much brighter. That's bleeding in, that's okay. Pull that across there. Okay, so the next thing that we need to do is to let this dry again, to be able then to add on in that top layer. Now, what I think I might do is, that is much more like the colour that actually we need. When I took the indigo and then mixed in a little bit of the brown, now that's obviously taking us to a deep Payne's grey, really black, but just that's exactly actually what we're looking for, because it is so dark. So just letting that drop in, and because watercolour being watercolour, it's gonna stay within the remit of where you put it. I'm just gonna do that. Just leave that about there. Okay, so we just need this to dry now, and then I'm pretty confident that really by layer 3, then that should be us done. Okay, now we're dry again. Now what I think I will do is, let me move to the round tip brush. The complete insanity of Colin Woodward suggesting a round tip brush, eh? The joy of learning and growing and changing, eh? Okay, so now I'm just taking a little bit of the umber actually, and just trying to just bring a little bit of warmth just across into the little tap there, just across into, I find that those little taps, you know, just add that little something to it. Something is not the word of the day today. Okay, so what I'm going to do is really darken down, well, not immensely. Now that's mixed a huge quantity of black, which is much more than I would want. I'm going to take a little bit of the phthalo, just to, I'm going to take another bit, that's quinacridone, that's alright. Mixing all around the houses here for this. I actually don't think that's anywhere near the colour that I really want. So let's just lift that one off. And let's go back to the brown. That's a lovely brown. And let's take that, and I'm going to just touch in ever so slightly a little bit of indigo into that, just to darken that down a bit. Now, looks like there is just one little strand on the brush. Goodness, it is. Sticks out that little bit more, and actually that can be really quite hassly whenever you're working. So I'm just gonna try and add in those little bits, and then take some of this richer blue and hopefully let these two kind of play about a bit together, see if they can become friends. There, I think that actually is working pretty nicely. Now you can see that little little extra line there, it's doing its biz. Okay, so the other thing I want to do then is to take this brush again, and I'm going to run this right across, because that channel's there. Then I can just drop in that line there. Now it's getting really, really windy and quite choppy outside, and here is me, nice and cozy in my lovely little space. Boy, am I so thankful for this little camper van. Okay, so you hear me going about this camper van all the time, don't you? Okay, so we're going to take, and we're darkening this down because now that's kind of going a browny tone, which is not what we want, but let's take a little bit of that. It's definitely nowhere near what we want actually, so we're just going to have to take the phthalo and bring it right back up again. But is this really, this is the thing that's a bit of a conundrum to me. It is this really, really dark blue. I'm adding in a bit of a mad colour here to see where this takes me. And it takes me exactly in the right direction. Thank goodness for that. Okay, so let's take that. You can hear a little bit outside some of that rain giving off the... Okay, I'm just going to touch that across the top. Really pleased to find that. Now let me take some of the phthalo into that. Sometimes it's the most surprising mixes that yield the most fruit, I think, and it takes a little bit of, I want to say confidence, but I suppose more risk taking. It's the whole, if you cannot be concerned about getting it wrong, then you're sometimes rewarded by getting it right by the most unexplained means, you know. Boy, it is, I can even feel the van is now shaking. I was going to go outside and finish off out there, but I don't think that that would be the best idea. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I think that we have finished. That's all that I want to do for that. I am so super duperly pleased with, let me zoom you in, really, really pleased with this area here and the treatment of the shadows. Now I should really actually just pop this here beside so that you can all see. Let me move it over slightly so it's in frame. This area here for me translates really quite nicely across there, and I'm enjoying that pulling. I'm pleased with the darkness of that, the top of that, the mountain or the landscape across, and it gives you a little bit of that feeling. Now for me, this is my classic technique. If you go way back to the start, rewind back to the start, can you see how very few the lines were? And remember the spectrum of watercolor and ink. And for some people, they have loads and loads of ink and a little bit of watercolor. For me, it's very, very little ink normally, and then the information and detail is given in the watercolor. So there we are, Seapark in Holywood in County Down in Northern Ireland. Worth a visit. So I thought I'd show you a little bit of the view of the setup. So this is my stand where the camera, the mobile goes in, and this stand died a while ago and I was able to repair it. So it now lives in a little case or a little locked kind of cabinet in the van. I bought this little light. I now have two of these. There's one that stays in the van and then there's one in the studio, and this is one of the wooden MDF boards I cut out from free offcuts in Homebase, which was a local DIY place. So and I can close these blinds, which means that I can video much better. But rather than go outside into that blustering weather where you would never hear me, I thought I would do my outro and ending here. So I really enjoyed doing that, and in between that I was able to stop and prep my message for Sunday, so it didn't feel like I was just, excuse me, sitting waiting, twiddling my thumbs, although sitting, waiting, drinking a cup of tea or coffee and just enjoying the world go by is a lovely thing to do as well. Anyway, I hope that you really found benefit in this one, and it really gave you maybe some insights as to how I'm doing things and how you might want to try them. As always, for more information about me, head to woodwardswatercolors.co.uk. There is channel membership that is available, and I did have a set of a couple of videos up for members only, which I have now took down because the paper was just, it lost its sizing, and someone told me, go figure, I didn't realize that, and it had become blotting paper and I wasn't enjoying it and I was putting it off, so I took them down. The plan is at some point to do more members videos, but on the whole the membership is simply about supporting me as I drive around in Bertie the Bongo and make these videos. So if that's something you would like to do consider it. That would be brilliant. I also have loads and loads of artwork available on Etsy, which is Woodward's Watercolors as well. well. If you want some images for your walls or some paintings for your walls, then please head to the Etsy store and you'll be able to buy some there. All information about me is on the Woodward's Watercolour website. And don't forget to like and subscribe, hit that little bell icon so you're notified of when new videos drop or when lives are happening or anything like that. Apart from all of that, it's really good to see you. Thank you so much for watching these videos and following me and the simple things that I'm doing in this wonderful little van. And I will see you in the next video sometime soon. Bye for now, everyone.